Hello everybody. Today I want to talk to you about ancient Egypt, how Upper and Lower Egypt became united. Before you start watching the video, I have a couple of tips. First, be sure to watch the video in full screen. There are some pretty cool graphics you won't want to miss. Second, as you're watching, feel free to pause, rewind, or re-watch any important parts. You are going to need to answer some questions from this video, and so you may need to see some parts of the video more than once. Here we go. Ancient Egypt had two parts, Upper and Lower Egypt. Upper Egypt, the southern part, stretched for over 500 miles from the first cataract northward to the beginning of the Nile Delta. Lower Egypt, the northern part, was the Nile Delta. It was only 100 miles long, but many times wider than Upper Egypt. By about 3300 BCE, both Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt had kings. The king of Upper Egypt wore a tall, white, pear-shaped crown, like this. The king of Lower Egypt wore a short, boxy, red crown with a tall spike at the back and a curlicue at the front. Much of our knowledge of prehistoric Egypt is mixed with legend. One famous legend tells about Menes, a king of Upper Egypt. Around 3100 BCE, Menes defeated the king of Lower Egypt, united the two lands, and named himself both king of Upper and Lower Egypt. The legend goes on to tell how Menes designed a new crown to celebrate his victory. His double crown stood for the union of two lands. Menes and his family formed the first Egyptian dynasty. A dynasty is a series of rulers from the same family. After Menes died, his son became king and later his grandson. Throughout its history, 30 different dynasties ruled ancient Egypt. Menes built a new capital city at the southern tip of the Nile River Delta. The city was later named Memphis. It was near where Lower Egypt met Upper Egypt, close to what is now Cairo, the capital of Egypt. For centuries, Memphis was the political and cultural center of Egypt. Many government offices were located there, and the city bustled with artistic activity. Historians believe that the Menes of this legend may have been a real king, possibly named Narmer. This picture here shows the slate palette of Narmer, and it's from around 2950 BCE. In the palette, notice the two crowns that Narmer wears. This is part of the evidence that historians have that helps them to believe that he may have been the king from the legend of Menes. Other historians believed that it wasn't this king who wore the first red and white crown, but possibly a later one. We don't know for sure. History for ancient Egypt began around 3000 BCE with the invention of hieroglyphic writing. Within the history of ancient Egypt, historians have identified 3 periods when many important events took place. In the Old Kingdom period, from 2750 to 2260 BCE, the Egyptians built the Great Pyramids. The Middle Kingdom lasted from 2061 to 1784 BCE. This was when Egypt became stronger, and the Egyptians achieved a great deal in literature, art, and architecture. In the New Kingdom period, from 1570 to 1070 BCE, Egypt became a world power by conquering other nations and building an empire. Between periods of strength and discovery, weak kings ruled, or foreigners gained control of Egypt. These in-between periods were times of great confusion and disorder in Egyptian society. In the 1,000 years before the Old Kingdom began, the Egyptian people accomplished many things. They learned to irrigate their fields, they learned to farm, they formed governments with kings as rulers. They invented hieroglyphic writing. Finally, the Egyptians created the belief systems and customs that made Egyptian life unique. These early achievements formed the basis of Egyptian society. Thanks for watching and listening. I hope that you enjoyed it.